Now coming back to the local issue where Ramesh Jarkiholi of the Congress party, even though the Congress has distanced itself, has come out and made these comments in Belagavi where he says that the word Hindu is, he's called it a dirty word, and he says it's something which the Persians have coined and it's come to us and we don't need to take this word at all. This concept doesn't apply to us. And he has gone forward further out and explained saying that this is something which has been forcibly imposed on us, and we don't even have a concept like this at all. There is nothing called Hindu at all on our soil. Let's listen into what Satish Jarkiholi had to say and then go back to the panel.
हिंदू धर्म, वो धर्म, ये धर्म, हिंदू शब्द कहाँ से आ गया है? ये हमारा है? पर्शियन का है? पर्शियन का है? ईरान, इराक, कजाकिस्तान, उज्बेकिस्तान, फिर भारत का उधर का क्या संबंध है? फिर आपका कैसा होगा हिंदू? फिर उसका मीनिंग आपको समझ में आ गया तो आपके आप शर्म आ जाएंगे। हिंदू का जो मीनिंग है वो बहुत गंदी है। कहीं का धर्म, कहीं का शब्द आप लाके हमारे ऊपर जबरदस्ती डाल रहे हैं।
प्रोफेसर नचिकेता तिवारी।
So can I say something on this?
हाँ जी।
हाँ. See, so again, he may be doing it for political reasons and because of ignorance. But to say he has made two important comments. One is that Hindu is a foreign word. It is of relatively recent times. It's an imposition. And third, it is demeaning and disgustful. It implies something negative. And when you actually look at historical data, all these three concerns are not great. First, it's a very old word. Actually, if you go back to 516 BC, there's this Ara king or Darius, and when he conquered areas or he became important in areas around the Sindhu River, he refers to this as Hindush. So this is a very old word. There are actually hieroglyphs which allude this term HNDWY. But then it's not just that the Persians are talking about this word Hindu. The Chinese also, in their own, each person has their own accents and all that. In 445 AD, there's this Chinese author, and he talks about the record of the Western regions, Zhu Juan. He talks about Hindus, but then he actually Chineseifies this thing, and he calls them Shendu. So again, it's Sa, Ha, they change, and then Sa becomes Sha. And he says something very important. Shendu, and in that context, he's talking about this land of Bharat, has several hundred separate towns with a governor and separate states which can be numbered in the tens, each with its own king. Although there are small differences among them, they all come under the general name of Shendu. This is a very powerful statement he's making. So people say that, this identity of Hindus, it's a new thing, it has been imposed by Persians and all that. That is not. He's a Chinese guy, he's saying there's diversity, but this diversity, despite this diversity, they still have a thread of commonality, and that's why he uses a common term, Shendu.
And this is in 441.
445 AD, this is prior to the birth of Islam. And then there's this wonderful book written during the time of Akbar. So now, of course, this is post birth of Islam. There's a book known as the author of this book, he's a Persian guy. This book has 12 chapters, and in each chapter he describes a religious system. And in chapter 2, he discusses the religious practices of Hindus. And in that group, he includes all sorts of people: Smartis, Vedant, Sankhya, Yogi, Shakti Pujak, Vishnu Pujak, Tarkik, Bodh, Sannyasi, Avdut, and so on and so forth. There's a long list. And he even includes Nanak Panth in that group. And then he says that why do I classify them into one single group? He says, and this is something very important, he says Hindus are those, of course this is a translation, this is from 1655 CE. He says Hindu. So Hindu, he is using this word explicitly, Hindu. They are those who have been arguing with each other within the same framework of argument over the centuries. I mean, that's what you see with Shankaracharya and Bauddhas are discussing, if they recognize each other as persons whom they can either support or oppose in a religious argument, then both parties are Hindus. The Jains, although they rejected Brahmins, were still Hindus because they were arguing and polemicizing with Brahmins. Such arguments were not taking place between Hindus and Muslims. The Muslims did
Right.
not share any basic terminology with the others. Hindus had their own framework, an ideological framework, the Semitic framework. So the point is, this is a very old term, Hindu. Hinduism is a new word, new construct. It's an imposition because of this colonial machinations.
Right.
And Hindutva is the simplest of all. It essentially means at the
Being
essence
Hindu.
of being a Hindu. That's all. There is nothing complicated
Hinduness,
about it.
Hinduness or being
Hinduness.
Hindu, but they try to separate it in terms of
Huh.
narrative and dress it up with narratives. Nachiketa ji, I have
So if
limited
I have
time, so
to,
I just want to get a quick comment from
Five
Dushan Sridhar
seconds,
and
so I have to
Ji.
use similar for Christianity. Want to use it in Hindi. I'll call it Christianatva. So that is essentially what Hindutva implies. The essence of being a.
Yeah, but everybody is trying to separate it, and it's all giving it a political term. Now, somebody like Ramesh Jarkiholi, he will not dare to say something like this, Dushan Sridhar, about any other faith or any other religion, any other walk of life. Everybody goes and gets away because of the fact that Hinduism allows for discourse, allows for debate, and also difference of opinion. Nobody is going to charge you and come after you and shout Sartan se juda and blasphemy, etc. But that does not mean that people can go ahead and steer and skew narratives to the extent that you're far devoid of the truth.
True. Anand, Karneshu Atati Prabhutas Karneshu Brahmati Iti. So this is the Vyutpatti for the word Karnataka, the state where the laurels of kings who defend the civilization is heard through the years is called Karnataka. So I hail from Bangalore, the capital of Karnataka, where we had such great kings of Vijayanagara, Hoysalas, Chalukyas and so on. And today we have reached a stage, Anand, where we have to hear such senseless remarks from people belonging to Karnataka. So that is karma. That said, one thing, people who tried reaching out to this land, to this geography from the western side, be it the Greeks, be it the people from the Middle East, they had words like Indoi, Sindhu, which became Hindu. Interestingly, Anand, the person who has made this remark, he belongs to a party where Sri Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, in his book called The Glimpses of World History, says how this word came into existence. He remarks and quotes the line observation made by the Chinese traveler Huanzhang, who says that I am going to travel to the land of Intu, which is Indu. Indu in Sanskritam, moon, Soma, which is Intu, is what Huanzhang remarks. And he continues, this is called the land of Indu, the land of moon, because if you take from Myanmar, Brahmadesham to Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Bhutan, Nepal, Uttarakhand, then Ladakh, and then Kashmir, it is the Himalayas act like the crescent moon. So this land is the land of the moon because, as per Jyotishya Shastram, Anand, Buddha is Buddhikaraka, gives us intellect. Whereas moon helps in the stability of intellect. That is why when the moon it becomes a full moon or a new moon, even Greeks called such people who exhibited different kinds of behavior as lunatic because it was based on the moon's movement. But here this geography, as per Huanzhang, was called the land of the moon because there is knowledge here. And this remark of Huanzhang has been quoted by Jawaharlal Nehru, the person to whose party he belongs to, in Glimpses of World History. So this land has always been called the land of the knowledge and the land of the rivers, be it Sindhu, which became Hindu, or Intu, which became Hindu. Now the question is, when did this come into existence? When you do not have a predecessor for your civilization, and when you have only successors for your civilization, the responsibility of naming your civilization is always on the successor. Only when you have peers aside you, you will have to come with a name. So the others called us by name because we didn't have a peer at that point in time. There was no competition. So there was no need for us to be named. Only when there are successors, the successors name you. This is basic logic. So I feel, when has politics always adhered to logic? And when have politicians made sense? So
Well, point is the
the
idea is that we have to steer away from the politics and also go ahead and explain the logic and put the knowledge in front, put the information in form, and that's what we have endeavored to do here in this edition of the Nation at 5. A departure from how we usually construct Nation at 5, ladies and gentlemen, but it's been a stimulating discussion. I've actually run over time, so Tushar and Abhishek, pardon me if I can't come to you for yet another closing comment, but it's been a great discussion. Thank you very much to all our panelists. We're going to wind up this conversation. There is one more big mega news break coming in from Pakistan on the Imran Khan front, but that after a very, very short break. Stay with us.